Hi everyone, in this video we are going to code the sign-in page. Now the sign-in page, first let's go ahead and let's create that. I'm going to call it sign_n.html. Now we're going to use the same CSS style sheet for the index page as well as the sign-in page. I'm going to generate a simple boilerplate from the HTML, from the head part of the index.html. We are going to grab the font awesome CDN, the Google Fonts link, as well as the CSS file. I'm going to copy all three of them, and I'm going to put them right here. And then let's change the name, which is going to say sign in. Let's save that. So far everything is cool. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab this JavaScript script because we're going to need it for our responsive navigation. We want it to work in here as well. So let's go to index.html. From there, I'm going to jump into the header, and from there, let's go into signin.html. So I have already added this part. This is signin.html. Let's jump into our website. So now if I click on this, we are redirected to signin.html, this empty page. Now within this page, what I want to do is I want to repeat the header part and I want to repeat the footer. And I just want to avoid writing all of that all over again. So I'm going to copy the footer. I'm going to paste it right here. And then let's go ahead and let's save it, collapse it and save it. Then let's go ahead and let's grab all the header part. I'm going to grab the header part. Let's copy that and let's put it right here. There we go. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to come in here. So what do we have here? We have this header part, which is completely responsive. So because we have linked the same style sheet, we don't have to like restyle everything all over again. It is completely responsive. We have our navigation and everything is working perfectly fine. The only thing that we need to add is that section in between. So this sign in, join our community section, this is going to be in between the footer and the header. That's basically everything that we need to do in this lecture and in the next one. So I'm going to collapse the header as well. Let's copy this comment and I'm going to come down here, paste it. Let's just call this sign in. So for the sign in, what do we have? We are going to have two main containers for the sign in. One of the containers is going to contain an image. Let's just take a look at it. This is an image and this is the form part. And when we go smaller and smaller, so at some point we are going to get rid of that image. There we go. The image is gone. We don't want to see it anymore. And then when we keep decreasing the width of the window, you can see how this padding is being decreased, which means that we are going to add sign in to that 470 pixels media query. And then this title is going to act as our H2 for the other sections. And the styles for this one, we know where they are. And the rest of them are basically like form elements, which are really simple. So let's jump into sign in, jump into HTML. So I'm going to create a main element and I'm going to give it an ID of sign -in -container. So this is going to be the sign-in container. What is it that we are going to have? So we are going to have that forum part and the image. So one is the sign in form, and the other one is sign in image. So these are the two parts that are going to be contained within this main element. Now the bigger part is the sign in form, which we are going to code first. And because this is an ID, I'm not going to use this ID. I'm just going to say sign in. And we are going to start from there. So this is sign-in. This is our div. So first we have that mini title. So let me go ahead and you know what? I'm going to create that later. And that mini title is an H6, which is going to say sign-in __. I'm going to copy this part, mini-title. Okay, well, what are you doing here? Are you installing something? No. So this is mini title, and it is going to say sign in. This is the mini title. Let me comment it out as well. Mini title. And then we are going to have the title for sign in as well. That is going to be an h2, which is going to have a class of, okay, let me copy this part, put it right here. This is just going to say title, and it's going to say join our community. Cool. So these two parts are done. Let's take a look at our final website. So we have the sign in, we have the join our community. The next part, everything that you can see, this is actually a form. So everything is going to be contained within a form. This is sign in form. So I could call this sign in content, the first one. So this is going to be sign in form. We are going to have a form that is going to have a class of form, sign in form, and I'm going to save this. Let's get rid of the action and let's expand this form. So we are going to have a few different input types. So an input type of email, password. Then we are going to have an input type of this checkbox, which we have coded before. And then we are going to have a label for that checkbox. So this is going to be one field set. Then we are going to have an input type of submit. Then we are going to have this text, which is going to be within a paragraph. And these three, they're actually, you can see that this space is a little bit bigger than the other spaces. That's because these three are actually one container. They're within one field set. And then this part is another field set as well, which is going to have a paragraph and this anchor element. So this is how this form is actually created. I'm explaining this part so when you are trying to recreate a website, when you just take a look at it, the containers, they start forming in your mind, in your head. So, and you know, okay, exactly how you're going to code that in HTML. And if your HTML code is concrete, it is the way it should be, then the styling of CSS is going to be extremely easy. I mean, CSS styling is more difficult than HTML elements, but HTML elements structure and the container and contain elements relationship, that is more important than CSS styling. Because if you get the HTML element containers wrong, you will never be able to style them correctly or the way you want. So first thing you need to master is understanding which parts of that website are a container and which parts they're basically like single elements that are used there. That's why I'm explaining this process, so you develop that mentality, okay, these three parts, they're one field set, these parts, one field set, this part is another div. And then when you understand this relationship, styling is going to be extremely easy. That's why people struggle with CSS. It's not that CSS is difficult, that's what you get wrong. CSS is not difficult, it's that HTML is more important than CSS. HTML seems very straightforward, very simple, and it is simple. But this container, okay, which elements should be within a container, that is the difficult part. That decision that you make, that is the difficult part. And oftentimes people think, especially beginners, that, okay, I don't get CSS, I don't understand CSS, that's why my website cannot be responsive. I cannot come up with a responsive design. No, that is not the thing. The thing is that, the issue is that you have provided incorrect containers for your HTML elements. That's why CSS doesn't work the way you want it to. So keep in mind HTML containers. That was a lot of explanation. Let's jump into code. This is an input with a type of email. The placeholder is just going to say email. And after that, we are going to have an input with the type of password. The placeholder is going to say password. Then we are going to have a field set for that checkbox and the text, which we are going to implement in the same way that we did for our main page. So this is going to be a field set. And the field set is going to have a class of, this is going to be sign in form. So let me copy this part, and then I'm going to call it terms. There we go. And in here, we're going to have an input with the type of checkbox, which we are going to customize. And then we're going to have a label for checkbox. The label is going to say, I agree to Now, terms and policy of any website, they should be links. Now, this is just like a website that we are trying to learn and understand how to create websites. But in real world, what you're going to do is you're going to create a separate page for terms, for privacy policy, and a separate page for terms of use, because that is a real website that represents a real company. So you need to provide the terms of use and the privacy policy. Therefore, I'm going to create anchor elements in here. And when you provide those pages within the anchor href, you're going to provide the path for those pages. So when the user clicks, and for example, it's an e-commerce website or any other kind of website, the users, they will know, okay, what are the privacy policy, what is the terms of use, how you can use that website, and if you're if it is the kind of website that collects user info, what is the privacy policy based on that information being collected. So this kind of stuff. It goes really into depth, but I'm here to teach you how we can create websites, not the policies for any company. I'm not that guy. So I'm going to say anchor element. This is an href. The first one is going to be privacy policy. And the second, and after that, we're going to say and. This is an href. So this is privacy policy as well as terms of use. Save that. Everything is looking perfect. Let's jump into here. So this is what we have done. This is how it looks without CSS. Let's jump into code again. We are done with this field set. I'm going to create an input type of submit. So this is submit. The value is going to say sign in. After that, we are going to have another field set. And within this field set, what we are going to do is we are going to provide users with alternative. So for most websites, you can join that website by signing up or using your Facebook or Google account. You can join those websites as well. So that's why I've created this part. And for this one, we are going to say field set that is going to have a class of. Now that is, I couldn't come up with a better name, so I'm just going to call it alternative. So alternative sign in form alternative. Within here, I'm going to have a paragraph with the class of alternative text. So let me copy this entire thing and I'm going to put it right here. This is going to be text. This is going to say or continue with. So or continue with either Facebook or Google. But within those, keep in mind that we have two elements. So this entire thing is going to be one container, and within the container we have this icon and we have this text. So I'm going to use an anchor element. It's not going to go anywhere. The class for the anchor element is going to be sign in alternative Facebook, and the other one is going to be Google. So this is going to be Google. So within each of these, we are going to have an icon. So for the Facebook, the icon is going to have FA-brands. The other class is going to be FA-Facebook -F. So Facebook is going to look like an F. And the paragraph is going to say sign in with Facebook. So within the anchor element, we are going to have a paragraph. That's cool. Let me copy these two, put them within this anchor element. Now this is going to say sign in with, okay, this is not Facebook. This is going to be Facebook. There we go. So sign in with Facebook, right? Funny. I don't want to dive into that topic. Okay, so this is going to be Google, FA-brands, FA-Google, and let's save that. Let's take a look at our changes. That's funny for some reason. I mean, it is funny if you just think about it. So as developers, we are allowed to make those kinds of mistakes, right? Okay, so for some reason I can't move on from that topic. It is class of, now this is the final one that is going to say if you have an account, you can create, if you don't have an account, you should create an account. And this is the part where at the beginning of the website, I told you that I'm going to create the sign-in page, but the sign-up page, that's very simple. Go ahead and create it. And it's going to be very easy. So you can go ahead and you can provide the sign-up page. If you're looking for inspiration, you can take a look at the sign-up page for Google, or not Google, the Facebook sign-up page. That's better. There's a lot of information. So name, last name, email, password, that kind of thing. It's very simple. So within this, I'm going to have a sign-in_form --sign -up. So this is the sign up field set. The paragraph is going to say don't, it's a questionnaire, so don't have an account, and then you're going to say no or yes, and then you are going to create an account. Now keep in mind that this href, it should be replaced with signup.html in case you want to do that. So you're going to create a sign_up.html file, and you're going to write it right here. And you're going to, when the user clicks on this, they're going to be redirected to that page. But I'm going to replace it with just a hash. Sign up now. I think we are done with the coding. Just the images remaining. So let's go ahead and quickly add that. This is going to be sign-n-container __img. This is an image element. It is within the images folder, and from there we're going to go to sign in, and this is sign in svg. I'm just going to call it sign in. Save that. Let's take a look at it. This is how this website is going to look like without any CSS. In our next lecture, we're going to dive into CSS, and we are going to basically wrap this website up as well. See you then.